Hello geometry students, welcome to our first online video lesson in which we're attempting to present our information as best we can over this odd break time. So the material is going to be presented here in this video that should be able to allow you to go ahead and work through your worksheets and make sure you have an understanding of the topics so that you can perform on the quiz or test that is coming up. So if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and Zoom Miss Virgin or myself with any questions you have. But for now, we're going to go ahead and see if we can get this information across the best we can and make the best of this situation. So we're going to talk about surface area of pyramids and cylinders today. For a few of you, surface area was covered previously with pyramids, but it's good to have a review because it's been a little while, and then cylinders will be new for each of you. So on the surface area problems here, remember what we're talking about. We're talking about the area of all the faces combined to make up the area of the entire surface. So our surface area for the pyramid you see in front of you would be calculated by finding the area of 5 different faces, a rectangle, and 4 triangles, and then adding those together. So you'll notice that we have both the original picture drawn and the net drawn, because for some of you, surface area is more easily understood from a net. So let's go ahead and start our calculations. We'll start with the easiest side, which is going to be the rectangle that is the base or the bottom of the pyramid, where that rectangle is 9 by 11. So therefore the area of that rectangle is going to be 99 square centimeters. Alright, then we have 2 different types of triangles here. We have the triangle that has a base of 11, and if you look at the picture, it kind of looks like the front face, or at least the front right side we're talking about, that has a base of 11, but it also has the altitude given to you as 11. So in order to find the area of that triangle, we have to use the area of a triangle formula, base times height divided by 2. So we do 11 times 11 and divide by 2. And that's going to get us 60.5 square centimeters. And there's going to be 2 triangles that are going to have that area of 60.5, because in the rectangular pyramid, the opposite triangles are going to be the same. So we have 2 triangles with an area of 60.5 square centimeters. All right, we have 2 triangles remaining. We have the triangle with a base of 9. And again, they gave us the height along that dotted line, and the height was 11.4. So in order to calculate the area of that triangle, we have to take the base times the height, 9 times 11.4, and divide by 2. That gives us an area of 51.3 for each of those triangles. So now we're ready for our final calculations. And the final calculation of surface area is found by adding together the area of all the faces. So we have 2 faces that are 51.3. We have 2 faces that are 60.5. And we have 1 remaining face that is 99. So when you add all those together, we find that the surface area is equal to 322.6 square centimeters. Don't forget your label being in square units. I apologize for some of the sloppy writing here. For the recording purposes, need to try to write with my finger a little bit. So hopefully you're able to read what my writing looks like here. It's getting a little bit sloppy. But moving on to cylinders next. All right, we are now ready to move on to our surface area of a cylinder. So this is a little bit more challenging. And the challenge comes up when you look at the picture here and we go ahead and roll this out to a net. Because remember, the net of a cylinder is actually a rectangle with the 2 circles on each end. So the easy parts to find here are when you look at the circle. the circle, we were given a diameter, and the diameter was 4, so therefore we can find the radius of the circle to be 2. That's going to make the calculations for the circle quite easy. But the rectangle is a little bit trickier, because you notice the height of the rectangle is, that should be a 9. The height of the rectangle is 9, but we need to try to find the width of the rectangle, and the width of the rectangle is a little bit trickier. And the trick here comes from the fact that the width that we're referring to is the rolled out edge of the circle. And if you remember, that's what we call the circumference. So in order to find the area of the rectangle, we need its width. And its width is going to be equal to the circumference of the circle. So in order to find the surface area of the cylinder, we have to start by finding the circumference of a circle. And remember, circumference is 2 pi r. So therefore, we take 2 times pi times the radius, which the radius is 2. So in the calculator, we could type in 4 pi, and that will give us a total of 12.56, which for the sake of this, we will round to the nearest tenth, making the width of the rectangle 12.6. So again, I'm going to say that one more time, just because this is the area people struggle with the most. When finding the surface area of the cylinder, we need to find the area of 2 circles and a rectangle. But the width of the rectangle is the circumference of the circle. So now that we have all of our information, we can go ahead and start talking area. So for the rectangle, we have an area that comes from 12.6 times 9, which gives us 113.1 for the area of the rectangle. The circle, remember the area of a circle comes from taking pi times the radius squared. So our radius is 2, so we do 2 squared is 4. 4 times pi is going to be 12.6. Now this is actually an interesting problem in the math world, because a circle with a radius of 2 is the only circle whose circumference is the same as its area, because 2 times 2 and 2 squared is 4 in both cases. So that just happens to be an interesting thing that happens here. I don't want people to make the assumption that the circumference of the circle is the same as the area. In this case, it happens to be true because the radius is 2. So back to the surface area problem. We have the area of each circle as 12.6. The area of the rectangle is 113.1. So to finish up the problem, we find the surface area by adding together 12.6, 12.6, and 113.1. That gives us a total surface area of 138.3 square yards. All right, these are the types of problems you're going to see on your homework today. Please remember, use this video as a reference when you get to the cylinder questions. Have this example open so that you can go back and review. All right, good luck, and we'll talk to you in a day or two.